The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is often called one of the most complex in the world. But what if I told you that one reason it never ends comes down to a single factor? Not land, not history, but mindset. Welcome to Causality, where we peel back the layers of the news you see around you. My name is Childish. I'm a major in the IDF Reserves. I have degrees in international relations, political science, sociology, and I created this channel to give a unique and deep perspective on the world around us. My argument today isn't about who was right in 48. It's about the choices that have been made then and since. I'm going to show you that while the Israeli side has continuously been pragmatic and mature, the Palestinians have been trapped by a sense of entitlement and a maximalist mindset that has sabotaged their own people's best interest, time and time again. In any conflict, you have to play the hand you're dealt. Israel, from its inception, has understood this. It consistently acted with pragmatism. They accepted the 1947 partition plan, and in every peace process since, they have shown the willingness to make painful compromises, ceding land that they know is rightfully theirs, in exchange for a lasting, secure peace. They understand the problems with a forever war and is willing to make a compromise even though they believe that all of the land is rightfully theirs. That's maturity. The Palestinian leadership, however, has constantly refused to even play their hand. They have clung to a maximalist fantasy, demanding everything. While Israel negotiated for a secure two-state solution, the Palestinians, even when they have come to the table, have always stuck to the goal of having a Palestinian state and at most another non-Jewish state next to it. This shows their fundamental refusal to ever accept a Jewish Israel. Now, when one side is willing to divide the prize and the other always demands 100% or nothing, there can never be a deal. This isn't complexity, this is intransigence. This maximalist entitled worldview also explains their failed strategy of terrorism throughout the years. Traditional guerrilla warfare is meant to raise the cost of someone doing what they're doing until they leave, until they retreat. But here, with their maximalist goals, it makes no sense. No amount of terrorism will ever make the cost of defending Israel higher than the cost of Israel ceasing to exist. So why do they do it? Well, it's a form of entitled blackmail. It is almost like the classic playground bully tactic. You throw the first punch against a bigger child, and then you run to the teacher crying for protection. The Palestinian people have committed heinous acts of terror, and then they immediately run to the international community, which they've correctly identified as an incompetent adult, and demand two things: protection from the consequences and even political rewards for their aggression. And it works. The recent push by several European nations to recognize a Palestinian state in the wake of the worst terror attack in modern history is the most egregious example of this. It is a direct reward for violence. It validates that childish strategy. This leads to the most destructive part of this mindset: the complete refusal to take responsibility. Any functioning adult knows that actions have consequences. But the Palestinian people, from firing rockets at civilians to the horrors of October 7th, operates with the expectation that the world will not only shield them from the consequences of their failures, but actually reward them. It is the mindset of a middle-aged failure, sitting in a dusty room, forever lamenting how the world has wronged them, never once looking into the mirror to ask, where did I go wrong? What could I have done differently? It is an endless cycle of blame that makes growth and progress impossible. Now, to be clear, the Palestinians aren't solely responsible for this. The international community has constantly coddled them by pouring endless charity on them. They have removed any incentive for them to build self-reliance. By constantly condemning Israel, they have led the Palestinian leadership to believe that if they just hold out a little longer, their maximalist claims will be achieved and the big bad Jews will be forced to capitulate. The Jewish people themselves have faced their share of persecution, but at each stage, they chose the paths of resilience and self-reliance. With few natural resources and surrounded by enemies, they made the best of a dire situation, and they built a thriving, high-tech nation. The Palestinians could have done the same. Had they accepted the deal in 48, had they accepted one of the multiple peace offers throughout the years, their situation today would be vastly improved. Instead, their maximalist, entitled mindset had led them to a consistent deterioration of their own position. For there to be a real resolution, the fantasy must end. The Palestinians must stop trying to rewind history and start dealing with the cards they have left. The current demand in hostage negotiation, a complete return to the status quo of October 6th, is a perfect example of this. It's a demand to erase the consequences of their own actions. But things have happened. There are consequences. When the Palestinians are finally willing to accept reality and to negotiate within that reality, Israel will be there to listen. Until that day comes, no meaningful agreement can ever be reached. And with every rejection, they have less and less cards. And the best case scenario for the Palestinians gets worse and worse. Thank you for watching. If you found this perspective valuable, please like, share, and write in the comments below. This is a new channel, and anything that helps the algorithm is huge. You can find my information in the link in the description in order to contact me and even book a lecture. This is Causality, and until next time.